All right, we're going to pull back the curtain on a hidden world, one where every single click, every text, every deleted file tells a story. This is the world of the digital detectives, and you'd be surprised what they can find.
I mean, really think about it for a second. Your phone is basically a vault of your entire life. And that blurry security camera you walk past every day, it sees a lot more than you might think. So who are the people that can actually unlock all these digital secrets?
Well, whether you realize it or not, every single day you're leaving behind this trail of digital footprints. And following that trail, well, that requires a whole new kind of investigator, a digital detective. But before they can even start following the clues, they need to understand the world where those clues live. And that entire landscape is protected by cybersecurity. It kind of makes sense, right? Before you can investigate a crime, you have to understand the battlefield. And for these digital detectives, that battlefield is protected by this massive shield we call cybersecurity. The easiest way to think about it is like this. It's all the locks on your digital doors, the alarm systems for your data. It's the whole practice of keeping the bad guys out and making sure your important information is safe from being stolen or damaged. And believe me, it is a huge field. You've got teams whose entire job is to look for weaknesses before the criminals do. That's a vulnerability assessment. Then you've got other folks who are literally paid to think like hackers and try to break in. That's called penetration testing. And of course, when the alarm does go off, you have the incident response teams. They're the ones who rush in to manage the crisis.
Okay, so cybersecurity is our big shield. But what happens when something gets through? Now we zoom in past all the defenses and right into the crime scene itself. Welcome to the world of digital forensics.
Exactly. The alarms are blaring, a breach has happened, or maybe a crime has some kind of digital angle. The shield did its job as best it could, but now it's time for the investigation. This is the moment our digital detectives get that call.
And this is their whole mission, to carefully recover and investigate digital evidence. But here's the kicker. It's not just about finding the data. It's about preserving it so perfectly, so meticulously, that every single piece of evidence will actually hold up in a court of law.
And just like traditional police work has different specialties, so does digital forensics. You've got your computer experts, your mobile phone gurus, investigators who know how to navigate the absolute maze of social media, and even specialists who can pull evidence right out of the cloud.
Okay, so that's all the theory, but what does this work actually look like day to day? Let's dive into a couple of real-world scenarios, and we'll start with something we see all the time, trying to enhance totally unusable video evidence.
Right? We've all seen this on the news. Some critical event gets caught on camera, but the footage is so dark, or so shaky, or so pixelated, you can't make out a thing. It's the classic problem. But for a forensic analyst, that's not a problem, it's a puzzle. And here's how they solve it. On the one hand, you have all the problems, the low resolution, the shaky camera, but then the forensic toolkit comes out. Analysts can digitally sharpen the image, they can stabilize it to get rid of that camera shake, they can even adjust the brightness and contrast to pull details right out of the shadows. It's literally like turning useless static into a clear picture. And it gets even more detailed. An analyst can lock onto one specific person or a single car and track its movement through the entire video, frame by painstaking frame. It's that incredible level of detail that turns a useless clip into rock-solid evidence for court. All right, so we've gone from the eye in the sky down to the device that's probably in your hand right now. Let's talk about our second case, the modern-day treasure trove of evidence, the smartphone. Just think about what's on your phone. GPS locations, call histories, deleted text messages, photos, private chats. A phone can often tell a much more complete and honest story than any human witness ever could. So getting inside one, well, it's everything. But here's where it gets really tricky. Not all phones are built the same. With an iPhone, for example, an analyst might be focused on getting past the lock screen or maybe even pulling data off a phone that's been completely smashed. With an Android, it can be a totally different ballgame. They might create what's called a physical image, which is basically a perfect bit-for-bit clone of the phone's entire memory. That lets them dig for files that were deleted a long, long time ago. It's incredibly specialized work. And this entire thing follows a super strict, legally required process. First up, they have to maintain what's called the chain of custody. That's the official log that proves the evidence was never tampered with. Then they create backups, scan for any hidden spyware or malware, and finally, they do the deep dive to pull up all those hidden or deleted files. Okay, so we've seen the big protective shield of cybersecurity, and we've zoomed way in with the magnifying glass of digital forensics. Now let's pull all the way back out and think about the really big picture here. What does all this mean for the future of evidence?
This really gets to the heart of it all. The ones and zeros themselves, they're objective. They don't have an opinion, they just record what happened. The real magic, the skill of the digital detective, is knowing exactly how to ask that data the right questions to piece the story together.
And this is why all of this matters so much right now. Our lives are just digital. I mean, think about it. Your smartwatch, your car, your home, they're all generating data constantly. Being able to forensically analyze that data isn't just a neat skill anymore. It's becoming absolutely fundamental to our justice system and how we find the truth. So, I'll leave you with this to chew on. As technology gets more and more woven into our lives, with things like augmented reality and the Internet of Things becoming normal, that line between a digital footprint and a physical one is going to pretty much disappear. So what new, wild challenges will that create for the digital detectives of the future?